What's going on, everybody? Today's episode of the podcast is, of course, brought to you by G Fuel Energy. Right now, if you use G Fuel code DannyD, you'll save 10 to 30% off at checkout, and using that code directly supports the podcast, as well as the rest of the content that I make. Today's guest is a 3-time returning guest. I've learned a lot from him as a content creator, especially with TikTok. Him and I seem to be going through similar life changes, it always seems like, so catching up with him is always fun. I really enjoyed the conversation. I hope you guys do too. Please welcome Chunky Hustle. All right, we are recording.
Okay, awesome.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I'm glad you said Thursday and not Friday, because tomorrow my mother-in-law is actually getting all the vertebrae in her neck replaced with hip bone. She's having a major surgery done tomorrow, so I was gonna be like, if you said Friday, that's a no-go for me.
Holy crap, that's crazy. Yeah. Friday's a no-go for me too, because I got a buddy of mine from in the military. He decided to get out, and so he's traveling from, I think, Miami to Arizona, and so he's stopping by, and we're gonna like go grab lunch, see a movie or something.
Nice.
Just catch up.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
A lot's changed since we last talked. It was like 3 months ago. I see you got like the new setup. Are you in a new house since we talked?
Yeah. So I'm in the new house. As you can tell, I got everything painted. I had my wife paint the giant Galaxy CH wall, which we actually never finished. We still need to outline the lettering. So this is just like on the first floor. It's its own little office space. My desk, I actually had a desk custom made. It's all made out of solid wood and everything, so I could have my PC mounts and everything. And it was actually supposed to go against the wall to my left, which you can't see. It's all acoustic panels. But I didn't like the setup for the camera, so we switched it, and it actually fits perfectly. Like this wall to this wall, the desk barely doesn't touch the wall. There's like a 1/4-inch gap on each side of the desk, so it worked out perfect.
Nice. It looks good, man. Looks good.
Yeah, we got some time into it. I like it a lot better than the last setup. It's a little more permanent.
Yeah. So how long have you been at the new house then?
Honestly, I think the last time we did the podcast, I think I moved the following week. So I've been in here about 3 months. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how are you liking it? Is it much better than the last place you're living?
Oh yeah, I mean we were in a 2-bedroom apartment that was filled to the brim with stuff, and I like it a lot. The grass isn't fully grown in since it's a new construction house, so I don't have to cut grass yet, so that's pretty cool. It's a lot to keep up with though. Like we've always been in like single floor 2-bedroom apartments.
Yeah.
So now to have 2 floors, 4 bedrooms, an office, the kitchen, the dining room, all that, it's a lot to keep clean. There's a lot of dust.
Yeah, I bet. Because I mean, we're still, I think, like 11 months out from being able to start looking for a house, and I'm excited to get a house, but I know that comes with all its own like things,
Yeah, well, and honestly, for you, I mean, since you have to wait that long anyway, that might be prime time, because they're saying like that's about when the market's gonna crash, so you might be able to find a really nice house super cheap.
Yeah. I mean, but we've been looking at houses right now, and it with our price range, I think we're gonna find a really nice house that we're gonna like. We got options, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna because the other thing is I don't know. We've always debated like getting a swimming pool, like a house with a swimming pool. I don't think we're gonna do it. Like I don't know how much we'd actually use it.
So my thing is, I really want to put one in. Where we moved in, we're actually in an HOA, and it's a really lax HOA, super minor. But one of their stipulations is it has to be an in-ground pool, and it's like that's fine. They're nice, but the price tag on an in-ground pool is about $30,000.
Yeah,
so,
it's not cheap.
And then you got to think about it too, like you were saying. Do you really want one? That's like almost daily upkeep. You know what I mean? And I don't know about where you're at. Are pools open year round by where you're at, or?
No, it gets cold enough here where it snows, so not year round.
So you guys got to shut it down then. Yeah. So like my brother-in-law, he lives in Texas, and his pool stays open year round. Like they'll swim in December if it's warm enough. He's got a heated pool and everything, but that's a lot of upkeep, man. You got to go out there, you got to take your net out there, get all the leaves out of it and everything. And so I was sitting there weighing it. I'm like, should we finance a pool? Then I gotta clean the pool, and I'm paying on it. So then I'm paying on it, and I'm gonna be angry thinking about, man, why am I paying on this pool to have to come out here every
Right.
day and clean it? So I don't know. We might get like a cocktail pool. Have you seen those?
No, but I was gonna say we're thinking about maybe like a hot tub instead, you know, like a jacuzzi
Yeah,
type
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, so you could even do like a heated. It wouldn't be like a jacuzzi, but you could do a heated cocktail pool. My neighbor's the one that actually told me about them. They're small pools. They're a little over waist high, and they fit about 8 people in them. It's just like enough to get in and get wet and hang out, you know, and have a drink or two if you want. But
Hmm.
you can get an in-ground one of those for, he was saying, like $8,000. I was like,
That's not bad.
yeah, versus 30,000 for the full pool. It's like the only
Yeah.
reason why I want a pool is just to sit in it and, you know, get wet during the summer. So
Yeah. So cocktail pool might actually do
yeah,
the job.
something to look
There
into.
you
Yeah,
go.
for sure.
Yeah. And then I don't know, because I know last time we talked, because I kind of like skimmed through the podcast the last one around to kind of like figure out like where we were as far
Mhm.
as everything going on, because it's crazy how fast time flies, man.
You ain't kidding.
So I don't know how much you want to talk about, because I know it's definitely been like a sensitive thing, but the whole in vitro thing. So like, where are you guys at with that right
Mhm.
now? You guys are taking a break from.
So we originally weren't going to take a break. We were going to just keep going with the process and just not publicly display it anymore.
Hmm.
So our first embryo unfortunately didn't take. So then after they implant that first one, they thaw whatever you, or they freeze whatever you have left, like
Yeah.
cryogenically freeze. So we went back in. Once again, you know, my Twitch following and TikTok followers, they threw in. We raised another 6,000 to go try it again. So the day of, they thawed our second embryo. We had 3 total that had made it. So the second, they thawed it, and it didn't make it past the thaw. So that same day, they thawed our third and final one, and they implanted that one. It started to take. We were getting positive pregnancy tests, um, and then unfortunately, they have something called a chemical pregnancy, which is pretty much like an early onset miscarriage.
Mm,
So it didn't fully take. So now we're kind of back to square one. We have to do the whole process again. I did start a new day job, but unfortunately, the insurance, all the doctors around here are out of network, so it's kind of a out of pocket expense again. So
yeah.
our plan now is to kind of take a year off, save up the money we need, because you know it was awesome that my followers and supporters, you know, came together and raised that money for us. Um, but for us, we don't feel right to ask again. You know what I mean? It's kind of one of those things where if it's meant to be, we'll come up with it and it'll happen. You know, I thank everybody that did help contribute the first 2 times around, and I do not feel right asking again or doing a stream to try to raise the funding for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get you. That's rough, man. I'm sorry to hear that it went that way. Have you guys thought about? I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about it, but have you guys thought about like doing adoption?
So we have part of that. We actually have a relative who was doing the whole adoption thing. The thing about adoptions is typically they're very expensive. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
one of our neighbors down the street, we met them and we're talking to them. She has 2 adopted grandchildren, and each adoption for them ran the parents about $80,000 to $90,000 in like legal fees and whatnot in order to adopt. Um, and then also, you know, if things don't work with the IVF stuff, we are definitely highly open in considering adoption. It's just kind of one of those things where we wanted to try to have, you know,
Of course, yeah.
our own flesh and blood
Mm-hmm.
type thing. But we are definitely very open to adoption if things don't, you know, line themselves out in the near future. So
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know it cost that much. Everybody always
yeah,
talks
well,
about it like it's some
and
simple thing.
and I don't think that's every case. I think because there's got to be financial assistance somewhere out there for that. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I don't feel like these adoption agencies would be out here trying to stroke you for money. You know, when you're trying to take a child in and give them a good life. I don't feel like that's the case for everybody. So it's definitely something to where, you know, if the IVF doesn't work out soon, that we're definitely going to look into. And next time we get together, I'm sure we'll be doing this again. I'll probably have a little more information on that. And we even tossed around the idea of if the IVF does work and we end up wanting another kid, because my wife has an autoimmune disorder. So this whole year, for the past 7 months, she's been off the medication for that, for this. So depending on how this first pregnancy goes, if she ends up getting pregnant, if it's too rough on her as far as recovery and we want to have another kid, we'll probably adopt, that time around or whatever. So it's definitely something we're super open to. It's just kind of weighing our options and seeing how we want to go about it. So
cool, man. I mean, yeah, I know that's got to be stressful, man. I feel bad, because like it's something people take for granted. Not everybody can just have kids.
Right.
It's crazy.
Right. Yeah. And the crazy part is like, and that was the hardest part about me was, telling the story on TikTok was we had to go through this because of me. And we went through all the testing. I've been to my specialist several times, all the blood work and everything. And it all fell back on me. And I actually just had an appointment this past week, talking with the doctor and everything. And they put me on these hormone pills and everything. My hormone levels were all normal. They just wanted to see them a little higher for pregnancy and all that. And the doctor flat out told me, he's like, yeah, there's literally nothing we can do. Your levels are where they need to be at. You're just not producing the quality that you should be. And he pretty much told me it was genetics. Like, I guess when my mom and my dad made me, their genetics clashed, and he said there's no shot, no pill, nothing I can do to help raise your counts at all. Like he said, you when it comes to the hormones, you're A-okay across the board. It's just genetics at this point. So he even told me, he said if I were to have a son, there's the potential that I could pass this issue down to him. And growing up as a guy, like I've never heard of there being a problem on the guy's end. You know what I mean? So this was all just like a shell shock to me.
Yeah, I mean, because when I was in the military, I heard all the time people say, that because they had been on a submarine or this and that, they couldn't have boys. But because of radiation,
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't really hear that too often. So
yeah,
that's crazy,
yeah,
man.
it was definitely something that just kind of opened my eyes a little bit. Like, and the more I told my story, the more there was other guys from like TikTok and Twitch that were coming to me saying, hey, I know what you're going through. I know where you're at. We're going through the same thing. And that's kind of why we kept making the TikToks, was to spread awareness about everything. And honestly, just after the second one, getting those positive results and seeing that it was starting to take, that just kind of it almost shattered us a little bit. And to be honest with you, we went through a rough couple weeks together as a couple after that. It kind of, at that point, it really took its toll mentally on the both of us. And we're in a really good spot now, but it was definitely something hard to go through.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you guys made it through that. That's rough, man. I mean, it's in a way, it's kind of like losing a child, like that. You see what couples go through when that happens, and can break marriages. Yeah. Right now, I have to wait a full year. So I have to wait till December when my wife and I are officially married for a year. But we're already in the legal process of me adopting my stepson. So
so that's awesome, man. That is, I you see those videos all the time on TikTok and everything of the guy that's raised this kid as his own for years, and you can even tell just in your TikToks you do with little man, and you guys got a bond that's like that. You know what I mean? You guys are awesome together. You can obviously tell that you treat him really well, like he was your own flesh and blood. So that's awesome. I'm glad that your wife is has even put that on the table. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, my stepfather did the same for me. So, because my real father, he was a Marine, and he turned out when he got out, I guess he just got into drugs, and so when I was 7 or 8. My parents' marriage kind of fell apart, and then my stepfather came into the picture when I was in 7th grade, I want to say 7th or 8th grade, and so after a couple of years of them being married, that he was like, "How do you guys feel about me adopting you, you know, because the whole thing was I had ran into my real father a few times, like when I was working at the movies and stuff, and he would always be like, "Oh, I'm doing better now, this and that," and like wanted to like reconnect and stuff. But like, I don't know, it's just kind of like a really weird situation, you know. He didn't like try to fight for us or anything. But like my mom was always worried that like he would try to like come back into our lives or something like that. And you know, we were happy with the, you know, the stepfather that we had now. So I was like, you know, and we were all
definitely
open to that. So, and I feel like that was it was important because, you know, like until then I hadn't really felt like I had a real father figure, me especially, because, you know, I was already about ready to go to high school. You know, it's like I went like a good portion of like growing up without having like a real father figure. And even my real father wasn't really around a lot because he was working like crazy hours and then wouldn't come home because he'd go to the casino and stuff. He also had a really bad like gambling addiction. So it's like all of it. So that's why like I've always kind of stayed away from like gambling and like, I mean, I saw when I was in the military, when I turned 21, like I definitely feel like I have like an addictive personality, you know?
It runs in my family too. I'm the same way. Like we can go to the casino. I can put like, so my thing is when we go to the casino, I'll bring cash. I'll bring $100 bill and I'll be like, all right, this is all I'm spending.
Yeah.
Like, I'll play, I'll win a little bit, and then I'll lose a little bit. I'll win a little bit, then I'll lose it all. And then it's like, I got to go to the ATM. I can win this back. You get that I can win it mentality. And it's not good.
Yeah, no, he would totally like gamble away like a whole paycheck, you know, like it's crazy. And like I was the one who discovered, I've shared this a little bit. I was the one who actually discovered that like he was doing drugs because he had said one day before he was going to work that he couldn't find some of his medicine. And I mean I was like 6 at the time, so I had no idea what he was talking about.
Right.
And so like he tells me it's in this like Kodak, one of those like old Kodak film bottles, you remember?
Mm-hmm.
The little plastic ones. And so he told me, if you find it, don't tell your mom. And what did I do? I found it, and of course I take it to my mom, and it's meth. And so like my mom, like, it was a big deal.
Hardcore stuff.
Yeah,
man.
it was no joke, man. It was and I mean I was just barely old enough to understand that. I was like, like my parents are like not gonna be married anymore, you know? And then my brother and sister, like my brother was like not even one, I think, you know? So it was definitely like different for me because I was just now starting to like be able to understand stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So
but I mean that was awesome that you had, you know, that stepfather that really stepped up to the plate and was willing to be a father, you know, and you know, you're in the same situation now where you have that opportunity and you know that it doesn't take, you know, you being blood to be a dad. And you guys are awesome together. You guys, you, the wife and little man, and Sammy and the new kitten might be the most wholesome family on TikTok.
Yeah, this cat is everybody's been commenting, they're like, you need to give the cat like a safe space. I'm like, the dog like roams around the whole house. There is like no safe space. You know, they just got to get used to each other. I got some footage last night. I haven't made it to a TikTok yet, but they were like right next to each other, like sleeping kind of. So they're getting a little more used to each other, but the cat hasn't eaten yet. We give it food and it hasn't eaten yet. So I don't know if it's just because it's like still stressed because it's in a new environment. But
have you tried just like putting it in the bathroom or something by itself?
That's where it is right now, and it's just like hiding behind the toilet, like underneath it. So, but I don't know if it's just because like it's worried the dog's gonna come in out of nowhere or what, you know. So
it could just be a combination of the dog and it's a new environment. And you know, even when we brought our 2 puppies home to the house, because my dad was keeping them for 2 weeks until we moved in. Even when they got here, like they were really well trained at my dad's. We had them almost housebroke. When they got here, they acted up and acted out a little bit for, say, almost 2 weeks. Once we moved in, it took them a while to adjust and settle in and everything. And so it might just be that weird transition period for the cat, you know?
Yeah. Well, he's almost 2. So my wife's only ever dealt with kittens. Yeah. And so it's kind of new to her too, you know, because she's like, I don't think the cat's like picky about food, but it's a thing that she's heard, you know? Yeah. So I don't know.
I mean, have you guys offered it like wet food and dry food to see if it likes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so like the cat won't eat it, and like we open the bathroom door, the cat like goes and hides under the couch, under the bed, or finds my wife or something, and Sammy will sneak in and eat the food. He's done it like twice now. Come on, dude.
We got my dad, he's actually engaged, so his fiance has a cat. And when we take the puppies over there, the first thing they do when they get in the door is bolt straight to the kitchen where the cat's food bowl is and go just start gobbling the cat food. And it's like, oh, come on, guys.
Yeah. I mean, is there like what's the difference between cat and dog food? Is there really like much of a difference?
I don't know. I would say just whatever meats they're putting in it. I don't know what kind
Probably,
of
right?
nutrition like cats need versus dogs. I know like a big thing for our dog food is like what are the first like 9 products in the bag, like to like we have one food that we have them on where the first like I think it's 6 ingredients are all meats, and then they get into the grain. So like I don't know if there's like I think cats like they have like a lot of fish in theirs, maybe they need like the
Yeah.
mercury or something, I don't know.
Yeah, they
But
might.
I mean, it
Maybe
definitely
it's,
smell very different, so
yeah.
there's something different about them.
I think maybe it's like omega 3s and stuff like that. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot more in their food.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it could be that. Yeah. That makes
but
sense.
I've always because the original plan was we were gonna wait till we got a house,
Mhm.
and then me and my wife we were talking, and she's like, you know, because we've been discussing like when we want to try to have a kid, you know,
Mhm.
and so I was like, I think we should wait till we get the house. You know, it just makes sense. Like I don't want her to be like, you know, 6-7 months pregnant and we're moving, you know, or something like
Right.
that. So I was like, yeah, you know, and then so I don't know, like I just she sees like friends and stuff like that getting pregnant and stuff like that, and so we were at the pet store and I saw this cat and for some reason it caught my eye and I was like, you want to get this cat? And so like we checked it out and it was super mellow, and so now she's happy. So
That's one of those impulse buys right there.
yeah.
They call.
I mean, it was like
What?
$150, you know, so it wasn't like anything crazy.
Well, the worst part is so like there is one rule in our HOA here, and that's you're allowed to have 3 like dog or cat type pets.
Yeah.
So you're only allowed to have 3. And so we only got the 2 puppies right now. So now it's like my wife's scrolling through Facebook. She'll see, you know, this where we got the dogs from. It's a pet rehoming and consolidation place. So they take the dogs that like breeders couldn't sell because, like in our case, they had a birth defect, or people just weren't buying them or whatever. They try to find them a home rather than letting them get put down. So they do a lot of rehoming. So when she's scrolling through Facebook and whenever they have a rehome come up of like, oh, here's a 2-year-old husky, she's like, we have to get it. We have one more dog we're allowed to have. It's like, no. We have 2 puppies right now, and they are a handful. Like they're oh my god, they're too much. They're too much. I'm like, we don't need a third. We're good.
Yeah, I think this cat is, I don't know, it's something's different about this cat. It's just like, I don't know, it's super cuddly. It doesn't like run away or anything like that. The only thing you know, he's very cautious around the dog, but like this morning he like hopped up on the bed and he was like purring for the first time, and I was like, okay, so he's getting a little more comfortable.
Yeah.
But my wife's like, I've never had a cat like snuggle this much. Like they usually like come get a little attention and you don't see him the rest of the day, you know. But like he'll like chill there with my wife for like a couple hours while we watch a movie.
Yeah.
So
Well, if it makes you feel any better, my grandma has 6 cats. And there's 4 of them that are indoor cats, 2 of them that are outdoor cats. But you never see them. They're always hiding. They're
outdoor cats to me, like every military base I've been on, there was like a cat that would roam, you know, and everybody would just like give it some food here and there, and I'm just like, this cat's like this cat's like a hoe. It's just like going around everywhere getting attention, you know. I'm like, like outside cats are just not the same.
Well, what's crazy is with her cats, they know when it's like storming or whatever, she lets them in the house. So whenever it's gonna rain or anything, they come to the back door and there's like meow, and then like she lets them in. And she's like Mother Nature down there, dude. She's got like 6 cats, and then she's got deer that come down every day because she knows, like, she sets out a salt lick and everything for them.
Yeah.
She literally goes to Sam's Club, buys the giant bag of peanuts, and feeds the squirrels. So the squirrels
Oh,
come.
man.
She's got bird feeders. So there's blue jays, cardinals, all these like crazy looking birds show up out of nowhere. Like it's like Mother Nature back. Like around noon, lunchtime, it's all the animals in the world are in her backyard.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's weird how animals, like, I don't know. You start to like give them food and they'll like come around. You know. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
It's
weird
crazy.
thing. And like I was watching something the other day, and it was like myths about animals. One of the things they said was I always heard growing up, like if you find like a bird and like it's not in the nest, don't touch it, because if you do, like the mom won't accept it. Apparently that's a lie. Apparently that's like a complete myth.
Really?
Yeah. And so
it's
like,
probably just our parents just didn't want us to touch some nasty bird or something.
No, they're like, if you see a baby sitting there, you should probably like pick it up because something's gonna come along and eat it, or it's just gonna like not make it back and die. So yeah, I just thought that was kind of funny. I was like, so you can straight up just put it back in. It's like no problem.
Well, that's like growing up. Did your mom ever tell you like you're not allowed to turn on the lights inside the car? It's against the law while she's driving.
Yeah. Everybody's like,
I to this day thought it was a law.
Yeah.
And my wife, she turned the lights on while I was driving. I was like, you got to turn this off. I'm gonna get pulled over.
Yeah, you're gonna get us in
like,
trouble.
You know that's not a law, right? That's just what your mom and dad told you growing up. I'm like, no, it's the law. They told me. She like looked it up and showed me, and I was like, my life was a lie.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's like one of those things, like driving barefoot. Like you can't drive barefoot or something like that. Like they just pass it along and they don't think about it either, I guess. Yeah.
So here I am, at the age of 25, thinking it's illegal to drive around with the interior lights on your car. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's funny. I never thought about that. So I wanted to ask you what your take is on the state of Warzone right now, because I just uninstalled it.
Dude, you uninstalled?
I uninstalled it. Yeah.
I can't knock you. Man, like they're just not doing anything to make it more enjoyable for us content creators. Like,
yeah.
At first, the problem was skill-based matchmaking. Every lobby I got, like, because I like to consider myself a little bit above average. I'm pretty decent. So it's like for me, every lobby I get in when I'm streaming, it's a sweat lobby. So I can't just put on a show, have a little decent gameplay, and then entertain. I have to focus and I have to sweat, or I'm done in 2 minutes in the game. And after that whole phase, now we're dealing with hackers. They're always getting worse. Now it's come to console. Now console gamers are hacking. It's just you saw that TikTok, right? You know how the hackers were giving everybody level 1000, everything unlocked and all that?
Yeah.
They said that was the fastest patch that they have come out with for a hack since Warzone was released. And the reasoning made perfect sense. Why would they want to shut that down? Because once somebody gets everything unlocked with prime camos and everything, why buy Cold War? Why keep playing that? Why buy things? I already have everything. So once you start cutting into their dollar, then they care. So that just shows you right there, like, they really could give a damn less, like.
Yeah. So I uninstalled it because the past couple of months, like I just, an update will come out, I get hyped up, I go play it, and I just remind myself, like I'm reminded about how much I like don't really like it anymore. Like ever since the Cold War update, it just hasn't felt the same. I think to me a big issue is like we're going back in time. Like it doesn't make sense to go back in time. They're adding older weapons, and then they have to like nerf stuff and buff stuff to make them compete with modern weapons. And like I'm like, they're gonna do that with World War II also?
Yep.
How the hell are they gonna make that happen? It's gonna feel so stupid running around with like an M1 Grand,
Well, and the thing is like, okay, so we went from Modern Warfare, now we're at Cold War, and now you're gonna go to World War II. So you're talking, you went from Modern Warfare guns where you have all these crazy attachments you could do because it's modern age.
Yeah.
Now we're resorting back to Tommy guns with 50 round drums and
Like
maybe
flash hiders,
a glass sight on it. Like,
a
what are we
bayonet.
doing
Like,
here? Yeah,
what
a
are you gonna
bayonet.
put
Like,
on there?
what are we doing? How is that going to be? So are they planning on wiping everything for Warzone? Are they planning on just stopping Warzone and saying, "Hey, here's a new thing now. There's a new BR for."
I don't know. I mean,
Honestly, I'm to the point now where it's just like, can Battlefield hurry up and come out? Like,
yeah. I mean, from my understanding, they're just coming out with a new map. You know,
which they should have did with Cold War.
yeah, I think
You
they
look at
screwed up big
Fortnite.
time.
Fortnite changes the map almost every season now. Like,
I almost
what
would
are we
rather
doing,
they do
Call of
that,
Duty?
you know, where like they just change things up. Like maybe one section of the map is completely different now. Like if they do that once a season, like it would keep things fresh enough.
Yeah.
You know, they can add things, and then if something doesn't work, like I mean, like the biggest waste of time I think they did was that stupid train, man.
The subway, yeah.
People use it for like a day.
The subway.
Yeah. Well, no, not the train, the subway. You're right, the subway.
Yeah, the subway. Nobody used it. The only thing cool they did with that subway was when they put the Easter egg in there, where you could get to the special location, get the blueprint, and come out with a bag of cash. But typically, when you did that, by the time you had even gotten through the Easter egg and all that, the zone had already closed, and that was pre-patched to where it would put you in the circle at the next subway stop. So you'd ride the subway right into the gas, and then you were dead. It was like, this is stupid.
I took it like once or twice and died, and I was like, this is stupid. Why did they add this to the game?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just feel like with how much money they've made, like even like Fortnite, like we said, like you don't have to change the whole map. Maybe just blow up a section of it and then change it. Like, that's all you got to do.
I just feel like everything they've done with it is so boring. Like add like an aquarium area. You can go like into like a little aquarium and like shoot each other, you know, or like just stuff like that.
Swimming is a thing on Cold War now. Why don't we have like some sort of swimming part of the map? Why don't we fill the ravine or the valley, whatever it's called, up? You know, like, come on, like change something up here. Now I saw they were thinking about. Somebody on TikTok said that they were going to add airplanes into the game. Like that's great.
I saw that. Yeah, I mean, I see so many things on TikTok. They're talking about doing this, talking about doing that. But the one thing that stood out to me was like somebody made a TikTok and they were talking about how the statistics are going, and they said since the announcement of like hacks coming to console, they've seen like a 30% decrease in player base on console. And they said that right now about 1/3 of the Warzone player base is inactive. So like it's going downhill fast. It just takes one good game to come out, and it's gonna hurt it big time.
Yeah, well, and you see a lot of big content creators kind of throwing it out there that like, hey, like I'm gone if you guys don't like. I mean, we saw on TikTok, was it last week? Lucci made a post saying like, if you guys don't change anything, I'm gone. Like I've already given you guys this many views. You know, even Nick and Tim the Tap Man, you know, they're throwing their opinions out there saying like, you know, it's trash. They're over it. You know, it's a dying game for sure, which is sad because I really enjoyed it early on.
Yeah.
And now it's just changed. It's just different.
Sorry, I'm just posting my last TikTok for the day real quick.
No, you're good. I completely get it.
You
got TikTok o'clock is what we call it. Mine always lands towards the beginning of my stream. So we call it TikTok o'clock. The chat will hear my alarm go off and say, "Oh, okay, he's uploading to TikTok. It's cool."
But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like Activision is kind of like they're just putting enough effort in to like try and keep it from dying right away, you know. But other than that, I feel like by now they've got to decide. All right, it's time to like cut loose ends, and we're gonna go start working on a new Warzone because this is you know the whole anti-cheat argument is really made the game just, I don't know. Everybody's got something to complain about, and it seems like the main thing people complain about is anti-cheat. And I mean, there's no like magical solution to it. It has to be built in from the beginning.
Yeah.
I made a TikTok responding to Big Rob Energy, but I haven't posted it because I just like, I don't know, I just haven't found like a good time to post it. But he was saying that if Halo announced a battle, like if that their game had anti-cheat, that they would gain so many more players. And I was like, yeah, right, dude. They made their multiplayer free to play, and like, there's no way they're gonna put money to an anti-cheat. And even if they, and I was like, unless they do the Valorant thing and like gun skins cost like $100, like there's just no way, you know?
Yeah.
But because I know he loves Halo, but I'm like, yeah, this is not gonna happen. Like, it's cool to think about, but I'm just like the amount of, you see how much Valorant had to go through to make it happen, you know, and it's like, so there's people who from the beginning were like, I don't like this game because of how much permission you have to give it on your computer, you know. But I mean, that's the level of like anti-cheat you have to keep hackers out. And even then, I've heard here and there people like they get banned right away. Like as soon as like they get into a lobby and people find out they're hacking, they're gone. But the fact that people could still get in with something is crazy.
Yeah, and there's just the anti-cheats are, and that's the thing too. Anti-cheats are only gonna provide a blanket for so many different hacks. You know what I mean? There's always going to be somebody getting through somehow doing something. But would it help, you know, decrease getting in the lobby with a hacker? For sure. Like at this point in Warzone, it's almost like I encounter a hacker like at least once every 1 in 10 games. You know what I mean? It's every day. It's a guarantee of just when am I going to get in a hack lobby? When am I going to get in with a hacker? You know?
Yeah.
And even then, it's getting so hard to the point now with like that Cronus thing for console players. It's almost hard to even tell if they're hacking because that just helps them out enough. You know what I mean? It's
I can't remember who I had somebody on. I can't remember exactly who it was, but they were talking about how somebody did like a deep dive on these Cronus things and just different hacks and stuff like that, and that Activision actually has like money into that stuff. So it's like either way they're making money. They don't care.
Jeez. You see, that's bad business.
It's super shady, man. It's like for them, I'm not saying it's a win-win, but for them, it's like they just, it's not bad enough losing money-wise that they're like, all right, we have to do something right now. It's like, okay, you know, like we could definitely make sure to do something about this with the next one, but we're just going to let this thing that everybody cares about just fester, you know? And it's like, bro, it's sad because I had said, I think I commented on Lucci's thing and I said, it's sad to see the game in this state because for a lot of us, this is the game that got us through COVID. Like this distracted us, you know?
That's the truth. Yeah, that's the truth. They released Warzone like right before the whole lockdown and everything, if I remember correctly. It was
like March. Yeah.
Yeah. It was definitely the game that got me through, you know, and with, you know, for me personally, and I know a lot of people like Lucci and all them, Warzone was the game that kind of made us on Twitch. You know what I mean? It was the one, it was our biggest content producer. It was, you know, everybody was doing the loadout TikToks. Everybody was just, you know, posting funny clips, you know, and to go from the greatness that it was to the pile of dog crap that it is now is just, it's crazy how you can drive a probably $billion earning game into the ground like that. So
yeah, I finally just uninstalled it. I've been having fun just playing whatever. I've been playing Power Washer Simulator. that's fun.
Power Wash? You had your Power Washing thing? Oh my!
I had a couple hundred people watch me power wash a dirty ass playground yesterday. Like it's literally just like we're joking the whole time. We're like, God damn, man, what these kids do to this place? And there's like mud and like it looks like peanut butter smeared all over the place, and I'm just power washing it, you know. And it's got like a career mode, so you like upgrade your power washing equipment, and
that's crazy, dude. There's a simulator for everything out there now.
Yeah,
I'm surprised there's not a streaming simulator, like streaming inside of a stream, like. But dude,
it's funny.
I've been playing a lot of not a lot. I just started last week, but I've been playing GTA RP, and I'm really getting into it. Like, really getting into it.
I went through that for a little while. It gets to the point where like the server that you're on has limitations, you know. So like I'll end up changing servers, and then it's like you got to learn how the new server works, and then you know people from like the old server that you hung out with, like your gang or whatever, you know, they got to move over to the server too, and then. Yeah, it gets to a point where like it's literally limited by like your imagination or like how much time you have to play, and it's like unless you're like one of those XQC people who like just plays GTA for like 12 hours straight, like it's hard to do like these giant heists and plan them and have reliable people to like help you do them and stuff. So time wise, I just couldn't do it anymore. But I am because they recommended me. They're like, have you ever played Red Dead 2? And I was like, no. And I'm like, but I know it's like I was like, I know it's like 112 gigs. But I looked and like it's still getting good viewership right now because I guess the Red Dead Online has been
Yeah.
getting some good updates. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and start streaming that. I'm gonna try streaming that sometime this weekend for the first time. I'll play a couple hours, see how it goes. But I installed Warzone to install that.
I think so. What are your monitors capable of?
My gaming monitor is 240 hertz,
And
1080p.
when do you're on a 1080 Ti right now?
Mhm.
When do you get the new computer?
Hopefully in like 2 weeks.
Okay. Well, I want you to watch the game now and just really remember the graphics. And then when you get the new computer, off stream if you got to, does your monitor do 4K?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, well just crank the frames then and everything up to what your computer can handle. That game was the first 4K game that I played on my PlayStation 4 Pro. And bro, the graphics are insane. Remember how old the game is now. It's a couple years old at this point. But the graphics are insane. Like
Yeah.
absolutely insane.
I downloaded it with the idea that I was gonna play it on a deployment, and that it was actually the deployment when COVID hit, and so like,
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. It was just a mess. We were like, quarantined and stuff like that, waiting for answers, being told we might have to pack up and leave at any moment to like go back to San Fran, in our own rental car. Like we each had to get our own rental car because they didn't want us like mingling with each other in case somebody did have COVID. So one person was like a what do you call it? Somebody who's like always paranoid. No, like paranoid that like something's wrong with them. I can't think of the name.
Oh, is it Munchausen syndrome or whatever?
No, it's like a hypochondriac. Is that what they call it?
Yeah, hypochondriac. Yeah, there's always something wrong. Like, my arm. Yeah.
They felt a little bit of like chest congestion. Like, I feel pressure in my chest. I think I have COVID, and they shut the whole place down. Man, it was like, holy crap, dude.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so that was my last deployment. I spent like stuck in a hotel room, and they were like bringing us food and like drinks, and like, good luck, because you can't come out. And I'm just like, oh, because this one guy said that he felt a little chest congestion. I'm like, Jesus, man. And then they had us get tested, and we got the test results, and they said they were negative, but then they were like, oh, but they didn't do the test right. And it's like, bro, what was the point of doing the test if they didn't do it right? It's like, what? Like, this is a mess. Nobody knows what the hell's going on. Everybody's scared, And it's sadly, it sounds like the same thing is happening with this Delta variant. Everybody's scared. They don't know how bad it is. They don't know if it's gonna. They're like, oh, it's more contagious, more likely to give you the bad symptoms. I got my COVID shot because I was like, look, I'm gonna go to acting class, do jujitsu. It makes sense to get the COVID shot, so I got it. I'm good. And they're saying it covers against the Delta variant, but who knows, man? That's the thing, is like nobody knows anything with this stuff.
And I hate to say this because I mean it's definitely real. And my wife, like I said, she's got an autoimmune disorder, so it's definitely something that weighs on our mind all the time. But at this point, man, I'm so tired of hearing about about COVID. Like we need to, as the world needs to understand, at this point, it's going to be a seasonal thing. It's not going to go away. All you can do is try to stay safe. Like the COVID virus has been around for well over a year now. I have not contracted it. Obviously, I'm playing it safe for me and my wife. The whole mask and everything like that. But it's something that's just not going to go away. It's just not. It's going to be the new flu. It's going to be the new flu. We're going to have to. You're either going to have to get a shot or you're going to have to get it and build the antibodies yourself. And at that point, that's on you if you want to risk it.
Yeah. The one thing that I will say is like the vaccine. It's like my wife has always been kind of like cautious about vaccines, because like there's all kinds of stuff that can be triggered. And so like we talked about it, and it was like, all right, so if I'm gonna, if we're gonna get it, like which one do we get? Because there's so many different kinds. And like I ended up getting the Pfizer because they said it was like 95% effective, whereas like some of the other ones are only like 80% effective. But at the same time, I guess they give you a bigger dose of like the dead cells or whatever in the other ones, and so that causes like even worse like adverse side effects like a fever and stuff. All I got was a headache when I got it. So
yeah.
But I've heard with some of the other ones, people are like knocked on their ass for a whole day. So
Oh
like, I
yeah,
was like, I
yeah,
can't do that. Like, if I would have to schedule it so like Sunday, I can just like lay in
yeah.
bed and watch TV all day. Cause like,
Well, I think my grandma got the Moderna, I
mhm,
think, and I guess her second shot, like
yeah,
she had the chills. She was like felt like throwing up. Like it was rough.
yeah, here
My
it's pretty
grandpa, he
bad.
got Pfizer as well, I believe, and he didn't really have anything.
Yeah,
He was cool. He was.
it sounds like the Pfizer is the one to go with, but I mean, the thing is like, because everybody's like, oh, it's a new like vaccine technology, this and that. It's really not. It's more like they're combining two different types of vaccines. So
Mhm.
I don't know how much research you've done into it. I did a little bit because I was like, all right, what am I putting in my body? Apparently, they just take the cold virus and they add the dead like protein cells from COVID, which
Mhm.
apparently gives you enough of an immune response to build the antibodies. It gives you like the blueprint so that like your body can respond quicker and prevent
Yeah.
it from happening. And then but like the symptoms everybody's getting, it's from the cold virus, so it's not COVID that's giving you these symptoms.
Yeah. It's the cold virus that they have tied into the
Yes.
vaccine. Yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
because the dead protein cells are the ones that are triggering like an immune response, but the cold
Mhm.
virus is what's actually in the vaccine. So you get the cold for like a day from the shot because of it, because
Right.
your body's like on defense. And yeah, it's
Right.
it's really weird how it works.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It's weird how all medicine works.
yeah,
It's like, how do we get to this point where if I take this certain pill, my body's gonna do this? Like, it's like, how do if
yeah,
I take this shot, how do we know my body's gonna? It's
yeah.
crazy.
And I mean, that's
It's
just
crazy when
me.
you think back on like just who was crazy enough to let somebody experiment on them and do
Yeah,
this stuff.
yeah. And like, I mean, because I was gonna say like I this is just me like repeating like what I read and heard. So I'm a dummy. So don't take my word for everything the way it works, but that's how it was explained to me. And the other thing is, it was rushed for emergency use, right, by the FDA.
Right.
And the only reason why it's not FDA approved yet is because there's a time period they have to wait.
Isn't it
So like,
5 years?
yeah, I don't know if it's 5 years. I think for like, I think it's like a full year of like testing before they can say, okay, this is safe for healthy adults. But they emergency approved it for healthy adults. So like, I think kids under 6 can't get it. Uh,
Mhm.
Apparently pregnant women are being told don't get it because they just don't know
Yeah.
how it's going to affect the fetus and stuff,
Yeah, that's why me and my wife haven't
Yeah.
went out and got a shot yet. Because with her having the autoimmune disorder, her doctor called us and was like, "Hey, I recommend you both go get this." And it was like it makes sense. And then we told the doctor, "Hey, but we're doing the whole IVF thing." He said, "Okay, well, I'm going to advise you to keep wearing your mask. Be safe, social distance, all that. Don't get the shot because we don't know what it's going to do to reproductive health yet. And if you're already struggling and it does have an adverse side effect, we don't want to make it any worse than what you already got."
Yeah.
So
Isn't the mask thing crazy, man? I feel like all of a sudden one day they were like, I think it was July 1st here in New Mexico. They were like, all right, it's at business discretion. Like if the business
yeah,
says it's, they're like, when we were driving through Texas 4th of July, all the signs said it was encouraged to wear a mask if you weren't fully vaccinated. But basically it's the Wild West now. It's like, it's up to you.
oh yeah, yeah. Well, they just passed here in Ohio. They just passed something that like schools and stuff cannot mandate you have the shot to go back.
And
So, which I agree with that
I do too.
personally.
Yeah.
I don't feel like anybody should be forced to, go get a vaccine that they're not willing to take. So
Yeah, I mean, I believe in freedom. I think we should
yeah,
have the freedom to choose and stuff.
yeah,
If this was like polio, where like people are literally like crippled for the rest of their life, and there's like a high chance that you get it and that happens, then yeah, it should be like enforced to like because who wants to be crippled for the rest of their life or have their kids be crippled for the rest of their life?
right,
But this is
right.
just it's. It was definitely kind of like overhyped as like something that was going to kill everybody, and it's not. But then I guess, right now everybody's worried that it's going to be like the Spanish flu where it comes back and it's like more lethal, but it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know, man. It's such a weird thing. There seems to be a correlation between viruses becoming more contagious and less lethal. So
Yeah.
if it's becoming
What
more contagious, I don't think it's going to be crazy.
that's the thing. Like as humans and people, we can't live our whole life in fear. You know what I mean? Eventually, it's just gonna
Yeah.
you're gonna have to sink or swim, go for it or don't. You
Yeah.
can't hide behind your house your whole life. You can't stay
Yeah.
indoors and be quarantined your whole life. Like, eventually, something's gonna have to get figured out. But I'm friends with Mads Katie on from TikTok and Twitch, and she's Australian. So over there, they're talking about they got like a 3 or 4 year plan in place where like they're on a 2 month shutdown right now. Like the second straight month of shutdown. Nobody's allowed in and out of the country. They were saying that there's like tens of thousands of Australians that are stuck outside the country because they can't get back into their home. And it's like, is that even feasible? You know what I mean? Like, you really think you're going to shut the whole world out for the next 4 years? Like, the virus isn't going to go anywhere. It's going to probably still be here in 4 years.
I mean, how do you think the country would react if they're like, all right, this Delta virus is no joke. We're shutting down again. Like, I think the country would go crazy. Because we just got everything back, and like to go back to that, like I think we'd lose our minds.
as Americans, the land of the free and all that, I don't think it would go over well. That's not even a political thing. It doesn't matter if you're Republican, if you're Democrat. That don't matter. People just want to be out of their house at this point. Like, I don't think that would go over well to shut the whole country down again.
Yeah.
And at this point, there's enough vaccines out in the U.S. to where I don't think we'll ever get back to that. I hope, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean,
and like you said, we gave people a taste of the old world. They're not gonna go right back doing the whole stuck in my house ordering off a click list to get my food delivered and stuff.
What I'm curious about is because they said, like this is only gonna happen more and more as the population gets bigger and all that stuff. So the next time there's something that looks like it's going to become a pandemic, like what's the response going to be like then? You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm curious about. Like what have we learned from all this?
Yeah.
Because I mean, we got kind of lucky, with how bad it got, like that it wasn't as lethal as they had first like worried it would be. So what if there is a virus that turns out to be like 10% lethal instead of like, 1.5% or something? So
Yeah, and that it's scary to think about, but like, what do we do?
Because I think a lot of it also has to do with just the time that this happened. We've never been in a place technological wise as we are now with something like that, and so like it just information spreads so fast, and so does like misinformation. So it's crazy, man. Like the stuff you hear, like, oh my gosh, this is engineered like biovirus, this and that, and it's like, who knows, man.
And you look at it that way too, and then you also look at it as I understand a lot of people were impacted by COVID, and a lot of people were taken by COVID, but look at how fast we were able to derive a vaccine. Like, and they have the numbers show, are there adverse side effects for some people that are taking this virus? Of course, they didn't take a whole year to study it and all that. They had, like you said, they had to get it out there, but it's obviously working. You know what I mean? They obviously got something right in the formula. So the fact that we were able to produce, a vaccine that quickly, it's just a testament to modern technology right there that, if something's thrown our way, we'll figure it out as quick as we can.
It seems like the biggest issue they have right now is that like vaccination rates are starting to slow. So,
well, I think part of that too is you're starting to get to the crowd that's, I don't want the vaccine.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Everybody that's wanted the vaccine has gotten it. Now you're stuck with the, I don't want to get it. I don't need it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And here in Ohio, the governor is actually doing like a raffle, like, oh, if you get the vaccine, you're entered to win $1 million. And like they just picked the first winner who lives like 20 minutes away from me. Like I was like
crazy.
Well, if I wasn't doing this whole IVF thing, I would have had a vaccine. I could have won $1 million. But so they're throwing things out there like that. But
did you see, who was it? Was it like the I don't know, it was the governor of some state, like on the East Coast, I think, who was like saying, "Oh my gosh!" Like he's like eating a burger and saying, "Like you get this if you get the vaccine." Like I'm like, brother, trying to sell food to you to get the vaccine.
I'm trying to sell you a burger, and boy, if that ain't playing on the American spirit.
I read the YouTube comments like, "Oh, you could tell he doesn't like that burger. He's not a Shake Shack guy." Like,
Oh man, yeah,
Yeah.
it's great. Like it felt so good when they started opening back up Ohio, and like I was able to go to like one of like our favorite local restaurants and like actually go in and sit down because they're like small mom and pop places, so you're like crammed in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So obviously they had the social distancing stuff going on still to where like every other table and all that, but it felt really good that first couple weeks to be out. Like when the movie theater opened back up,
Oh man.
oh man, that was like
I mean,
this
yeah.
is what I've missed for the past year. Like just being out doing things like this. Like
Yeah. I mean, you know how much I like film and TV, so like for me it
yeah,
was like it's the experience, you know. Like my wife and
yeah,
I, we got a babysitter. We went and saw A Quiet Place Part 2, went out to dinner, and I was like, I missed this, like being able to
yeah,
it's the experience and seeing
yeah,
other people react to this big movie with you, and like there's nothing like it. And that's why I don't think
yeah,
movie theaters are ever going to go away, but this definitely showed that people are willing to just like pay $30 to watch a movie at home, you know. So it's weird.
yeah. Well, like I was actually talking about it with my coworkers today. I forget what movie we were talking about watching the new Black Widow, and they were like, "Oh, well, you can watch it on Disney Plus. You just got to pay for it." And for me, it's like, bro, it's not just it's the experience. It's going and sitting in the leather recliner. I remember back when it was just the stadium flip down seats with the
Yeah.
pads. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
it's the experience of going there, sitting in the recliner chair, getting you an icy, some
Yeah,
popcorn, maybe
big
some
ass
Reese's
popcorn.
Pieces, yeah, some snow caps or something like. And then sitting there with the surround sound, like you said, everybody's
Yeah.
around you. You hear everybody reacting, and
Yeah, and I
you
mean,
can't beat that. You know what I mean? That's something you can't just cut out. Like,
yeah. I'm waiting for the next Pixar movie to come out cuz I keep telling my wife, I was like, if something comes out that I think like I will still kind of enjoy, that's like a kids movie, that we
mhm,
got to take him. Um but he's finally getting to that age. I think I was 4 and I went and saw like the re-release of E.T. when I was
mhm.
4. And so like that was my first experience, and I was just like, I had like, to me, and that's one of my earliest memories, you know, is like realizing that this is a thing. Like people go watch a movie with like other strangers,
Yeah,
you know, and you get popcorn and all this stuff. And so
yeah,
like I don't think he knows that yet, you know. So like I'm excited to see him experience that for the first time. So
yeah, yeah. That'd be awesome. Yeah, it's
uh oh.
definitely the movie theaters that, like you said, I don't think they'll ever go away. There's nothing, and nowadays, like I mean, obviously, you and I are over 21. Nowadays, everywhere's got a bar. It feels like, you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
if you're into the drinking thing, like the movie theater just put in like a little mini bar at ours to where like now they serve like Bud Light and like tap beers and stuff. So it's like, okay, that's kind of cool. Like if you're out with the wife or whatever on date night or whatever, you guys can grab like a little drink or something. Like they're the movie theaters are doing things to keep up with the times and stay relevant. You know, things like that. Things like the chairs.
Yeah.
You know, the projectors have gotten. You know, you can almost like hardly tell whether you're watching on a TV or a projector nowadays. They're so,
Yeah.
clear and awesome. So
Yeah.
it's
Sadly, it seems like about half of the movie theaters here closed
did
permanently.
they? Yeah,
Yeah. So it's like the big Cinemarks and stuff like that that
yeah,
stayed open here. I've talked to a few people about it, who like work in the industry, and I think it's a interesting idea, that obviously with movie theaters kind of being a failed business model, like it's just
mhm,
people are more accustomed to watching things at home now. I think what's gonna happen is the studios are gonna buy out the movie chain. So now like AMC is gonna be like a Disney chain, you know, and they'll show Disney movies, and like Cinemark's gonna be, you know, who knows. So
yeah,
like I think that's an interesting idea, and I could totally see that happening because the
yeah.
biggest thing is, you know, the studios try to keep as much money in their pockets as they can. So if they own the theaters, like it's all their money. So
All profit. Yeah,
they got nothing to lose. So I think that's what's
yeah,
gonna happen. They're gonna buy them out
yeah,
eventually.
yeah. I could see that, I guess, but I don't know. I just feel like either way though, like whether they get bought out or not, I feel like there will always be a movie theater where you can go see it in person.
Yeah, I
You
mean
know?
the famous Cinedome, I think, is what it's called in LA.
Yeah,
That just permanently closed, and so like
really.
that's like one of the first signals that like, yeah, like it's kind of becoming like a pastime
Things are getting
thing.
sketchy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing too now, I'm pretty sure like you're able to go rent out a theater at our like the Cinemark by me. I'm pretty sure you're allowed to go in there and like say, "Hey, I want to rent out this movie theater," and they'll let you. It's like a couple $100.
Yeah.
So it's like for
It
me,
was
like that would be awesome. Like say like you wanted to go see like the new Black Widow or something. You get a group of friends together. It's like, hey, we all chip in. We'll rent out this whole theater and go watch it.
yeah.
You know?
I mean, I was surprised how many people were there when I went to go see A Quiet Place, because that's the last time I went, right when that came out, like that opening weekend. And I mean, because right now it's the way we have to look at it is the movie really worth getting a babysitter and stuff, you know, to go see. And then like Black Widow, I mean, like I said, $30, you don't have to get a babysitter, so it makes sense for those. And like I think we watched Cruella that way too. Did you watch that?
No, I haven't seen it. Was it worth it?
That was actually pretty good.
Really?
Have you ever?
I'll have to check it out.
Because I know my mom liked The Devil Wears Prada, that movie with like Anne Hathaway, the fashion movie. It's like that meets the Joker. Like Joker.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like got that like crazy like. Yeah, it was very interesting to see Emma Stone play like a crazy person, kind of.
That's like so are we talking like the newest Joker where it was more like the whole mental health thing? Yeah.
It like not like mental health. I mean, like you just see all of a sudden like she just kind of snaps into it, and like she's Cruella now. You know, you're like, oh shit, like she's not messing around. And it was a good movie.
We debated on seeing it. We recently just saw I think it was 2 weeks ago. We saw the new Conjuring, and the theater was packed. Like we went and like it was a full parking lot. Our movie was like almost sold out. Like it was booming. But we also went on, I think it was a Friday night, so it was a weekend.
Yeah, we watched that on HBO Max. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, we'll have to look into it.
Yeah.
You know what I've been rewatching? Because we actually just got HBO Max just for it. I've been rewatching the Game of Thrones. And then I saw Harry Potter's coming to HBO Max too, I think.
Yeah, it's like it's right now they're at the point where like all the studios have their own streaming services, and so now all the contracts are expiring and they're claiming their properties back. You know, the first big one was The Office. So cuz we got Apple TV, like Apple TV Plus, free with like our phones. So I went and picked up an Apple TV box so we could just hook it up to the TV and watch it and not have to like mirror it, because it's like worse quality and stuff. And there's some shows and movies on there that are being slept on for sure. Really? I think that's the most underrated platform right now. Paramount Plus has Yellowstone, which is really good. Have you watched that?
No, but my coworker does, and he speaks really highly of it.
Man. I mean, it's basically like the cowboy mafia. Like it's legit. Like they treat it like, almost like it's a mafia. So like these cowboys are going around like murking people. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to look into it, because you're like the third person that's told me I should watch it.
Yeah, and they just delayed I mean, I'm kind of happy when they delay stuff right now, because I'm like, that means they're not like gonna half-ass it.
But they're trying to rush it. Yeah,
it was the fourth season was supposed to come out this month, and the cliffhanger for the last season was insane. So it's just like, damn, we gotta wait till November now.
You know what I'm waiting on is the next season of Queen of the South. Have you watched that yet?
No, what's that about?
It's about the cartel, and it's about this girl who gets picked up. She was like, ends up being like a low-level person, but she got picked up by this guy who was flying the planes for him.
Yeah.
And she ends up becoming the cartel. Like she runs the cartel. Okay. Like, it's crazy. It's hard to explain. You have to watch it, but it's just nonstop. Like you think you know what's about to happen, something else happens. Like
what's
something completely I think it's on Netflix. Right now. All right. But definitely look into it. The main character's name is Teresa Mendoza. In her like bodyguard, is it the Sicarios? Is that what they're called?
Sicario is the Spanish word for hitman. Yeah,
and his name's Pote, and he carries around dual wield 1911s.
Oh man,
and he's badass. He's got a mustache from hell and back, man. It's awesome.
I'll have to check that out. That's the other thing, is like now there's all these streaming platforms. They're all trying to make their original content and stuff. It's like, God, there's too much to watch. You have to kind of like sift through and like prioritize stuff. It's like we just realized because they filming started back up. Like they're filming stuff everywhere out here in Albuquerque. Because like I'm trying to get them on. he was in Black Widow. There's this guy on YouTube who he basically just it's all stuff about acting and trying to be an actor and how things work, like how to audition, like what to do, what not to do. And so I was watching a video and he was talking about like the best places to live for the industry. And so like there's the big three. There's LA, New York, and now Atlanta has become one of the biggest hubs. But then there's Albuquerque, New Orleans. They film a lot in Louisiana now. And then there's one other place, but I can't remember where. But anyways, like Albuquerque's growing really fast as far as like the industry goes. And I think I had mentioned to you last time, but Netflix said like over the next 10 years, they're investing like $1 billion to move things over here. Like because there's this huge ass studio that they decided to buy. So the Albuquerque studios are now the Netflix studios over here. And so like I'm like I got to pay more attention to what Netflix is doing because that's the stuff that like I'll have a better chance of booking role wise. Because you know it's a business, so if they can get somebody who lives here, they don't have to pay for their travel and stuff like that. Like that's the difference between me getting a role and somebody else, you know. So
yeah.
And speaking of that, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead first.
I was just gonna say, speaking of that, I started taking acting classes last week. Finally, it started. Like I had paid for it and everything like that, like a couple months back. Yeah. But yeah, I had my first acting class. I love it. I'm excited to get into it, and I actually might have just booked my first role in a short film. So
really,
yeah.
Well, congratulations if it goes through. That's awesome, man.
It's actually funny. It's through a buddy of mine that I do the other podcast with. It's Genie Boy, because he's made a bunch of stuff. He had a feature. He actually did a feature film while he was in like film school. They got entered into a couple festivals, so he's trying to do like a festival run with this short film. And so he sent me the script. And he's like, it made sense to like reach out to you because it's just like he knows I want to do it. I'm taking the acting classes, and he thinks I can do it. So, they're talking about paying to fly me out there and do everything. So I'm excited. Yeah, it's a big role though, man, and it's kind of like I don't know how much I can get into, but it's like a kind of like a romantic, like intimate type of conversation type thing. So I'm like. This is a very deep role to start with, but
man, you jumping right in, both feet in.
Yeah. Huh? So we'll see.
I mean, that's awesome, though, man. That's awesome. Like, that's so my thing is when I was younger, and I've never done it really on TikTok. I kind of do it on Twitch sometimes. I was really good, and I stopped practicing, so I could get back into it. But I was really good at voice acting and acting in general. Like growing up, like I was. And it sounds kind of corny because I wasn't, a football player, wrestler, all that. But I did the school plays. Like I was in plays. Like I was the big bad wolf in Little Red Riding Hood. You know what I mean? Like I did that stuff. And I auditioned for the School of Performing Arts here in Cincinnati, and I got accepted. But they didn't have a football team, so I didn't go. And I never pursued it. But like acting was like something that I wanted to do. And now that I've gotten into this GTA role play thing, it's like a really good outlet for like improv for me. So like when I get on there, a lot of people say that I kind of sound like Chris Farley's character Matt Foley. Like I can just kind of talk like that in a way, I guess. I don't know. But so that's the character that I am in the server that I got in is Matt Foley, and I'm trying to get on the PD and be Officer Foley.
That'd be funny.
I'm Officer Foley, and I live in a van down by the river. Like,
Yeah, no, it's I totally get what you mean because like I'd be playing GTA and all of a sudden there's somebody like I went to jail because like I got into a car chase and then like the cop like I shot the cop and so like I got put away for a while. It was like 30 months or something, and so I'm sitting in there for like a half hour. And this guy comes in and he just starts talking all this crap. So I like beat him to death. And then so they had to come like, revive him. And then he comes straight into my cell and I beat him to death again, and it turned out he was a gang leader. And so like he's like he's they locked us both up. They're like, you guys gotta keep doing this, we're just gonna lock you up. And so like we're like stuck in our cells and we're just like talking shit to each other from across the thing. And it's like all improv. You're like talking smack, like the chat was like cracking up,
Yeah, it's a good little outlet. Just even though you're not like, physically acting anything out, like just going through improv and going through lines, like it's a fun little outlet. Definitely.
Yeah, it's fun. It's definitely like your only limit is your imagination with that game.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's cool. But
So
yeah,
yeah.
I kind of, I mean, I've been talking about it. I kind of, I don't want to say took a step back from streaming, but I kind of made it like not my main focus anymore. Like the acting is
Yeah.
what I really want to do. So
Yeah.
the content creation has definitely taken a bigger
Front seat
role in
there.
what I
Yeah.
do. So YouTube has been a big focus. I did the first vlog. I don't know if you checked that out. I
When
did
did you
my
upload it?
like a week ago, this past week.
Okay.
It was a
Yeah, I haven't
3-part
really
vlog.
been on.
Yeah, us going to Colorado to a water park. It was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I did see that. I did see that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. For me, man, like, and I don't know if you've witnessed this. I feel like a lot of people have. I've had this conversation with several of my other creator friends. Streaming right now, like, and I'm sure you've seen it. I used to average about 150 viewers, and I'm to the point now where I'm averaging 40 to 50.
Hmm.
Obviously, I kind of went through some mental things myself, stepped back from streaming a little bit, and all that. And I don't know if it just didn't pull the crowd back in. But I feel like with the world opening up, man, I feel like the viewership is going down, and not just on Twitch, like TikTok and everything. Like I feel like the viewership
Yeah.
is kind of just going down because people can get out in the world now. You know what I mean? They can go do things. They can, they don't have to stare at a screen all day to find excitement. So it's definitely. I was just curious if you had noticed any sort of drop off or anything like that.
Oh yeah, as soon as things opened back up, I think I slowly saw like a dip to where I am now. Which I was averaging about 500 to 600 viewers, and now I average about 200 to 300. So definitely like cut in half for everybody.
Yeah.
I think overall Twitch is experiencing about like I think it's anywhere from like 1 million to 1.5 million less viewers, like on average. So
Mhm.
it's yeah, it's a weird time for streaming. But I mean, I've always heard that like summer there's usually a drop because all of a sudden people
Yeah.
got time to do stuff, and then it slowly builds back up till school starts, and then people, they don't have time to like go out every day, so instead they're gonna like chill at home and like watch some
Watch a
Twitch.
streamer. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's normal what we're going through. I think it's hitting us even harder because people have been cooped up for a year, so like they're more inclined
Yeah.
to like go on that vacation that they wanted to go on a year ago. So yeah, I'm sure it'll kind of steady out. I feel like I've kind of found a new floor where I am.
Yeah.
I feel like I could pretty much play anything, and there'll be at least somewhere around like 200 people that will watch it or just hang out. So
Yeah.
I'm actually after this I'm gonna stream like Valorant or something, and then I plan on because I've been kind of like looking like, all right, like everybody's complaining there's nothing to play, so I want to find stuff to play that I've wanted to, and I got into Clash Royale. I didn't expect them to be that crazy about it on TikTok, but I started like a clan on there, and I'm gonna go to Best Buy and grab like the Lightning to HDMI adapter, and then get another capture card so I can stream Clash Royale. I think that'll be a interesting concept. So
It's awesome. What are you using a capture card right now, or are you just using screen
yeah,
capture?
I'm using a capture card for my camera.
Okay, so you like a Elgato Cam Link type thing or something?
Yeah, so I'll probably get another
Yeah.
one of those and just plug the adapter into it.
Yeah.
I'll
See,
basically be able to stream it until my phone dies, because I can't
Yeah.
charge it while I'm doing that.
well, I got a Elgato 4K 60 S Pro or whatever it's called.
Hmm.
And dude, I love it. I love it. Like that I ended up, I don't know if you knew this or not, but I was having PC problems to where I think we talked about it with the mic. Everything was disconnecting, and I thought it was the microphone. It started when I put the new microphone and got the new webcam. Turns out my previous capture card, which was old anyway, but it still did 1080p at 60 frames. So I was like, okay. My old capture card was going out, and it was shorting out the USB plugged into the computer. So it was sending positive voltage back into the computer and short circuiting my motherboard. So I ended up going out and getting this. Luckily, it didn't do any damage to the motherboard or anything like that. So I got this new capture card, and bro. It's got pass through on it and everything. So even though you're typically only streaming in 60 frames, like on PS5 they updated Warzone, so I can get 120 frames from the PS5 through that and still get 60 on the stream with it. Like, dude, I highly recommend it as a capture card. It's definitely badass.
I have the I think I have the same one you have. I think it's the 4K Cam Link. Is that what you're talking about?
No, mine's
it's
like
an actual
internal,
card, right? Okay.
Right,
Yeah, I don't have
it's
that
the
one.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
the PCIe connected one.
Yeah, no, I just got this, the Cam Link.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll probably get another one of these.
Yeah.
And then like that'll be useful later on because I am trying to get a PS5 because there's games on there like Spider-Man and stuff I never got to play.
I've been trying to get one to give away, to my community, and dude, I can't find one for less than like $700-800, and it's like I'm not willing to pay. Like, I got mine at retail because I knew somebody at a GameStop that told me, said, hey, we're about to start doing pre-orders. Come up here now. So I was able to get mine, and at the time I didn't think like, hey, I'm gonna bring my wife with me, make her get one so I can get two, and then I can either resell or give this one away. Wasn't thinking that at the time,
Right.
but I wish I would have.
Yeah, no, I'm starting to see pictures where like people are freaking out because like all of a sudden like there's like 8 sitting on a shelf or somewhere and they're gone, but like they're starting to go back into stock. So I think I'll probably get one maybe in the next couple months or so.
But it's crazy that we're like, it came out like 7 months ago almost, and we still don't have any on the shelf. Like that's crazy. Like even the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox when they came out, like it wasn't even that bad. Like by Christmas time, they were skids full in the store.
And then the demand is going to get even worse because they just announced that the new Battlefield is going to be crossplay, but if you have a PS4 or the Xbox One, like you can only play with each other. Everybody else, like the PS5, Xbox One, PC, they can play together, or the Xbox Series X, they can play together, but you can't play with PS4 or Xbox One, so they're starting to be excluded. And it's like, oh no, I really need to get the new console. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, it's gonna ramp up. But speaking of like new games, what are you excited about?
For me, I'm just looking forward to Battlefield at this point. Like I'm kind of stuck in a groove with the first person shooters. I played the Resident Evil when it came out. I played The Last of Us when it came out. Pretty much I'm just looking for a good first person shooter to come out that's not full of hackers. What'd
you think of the new Resident Evil?
I liked it. I liked it. So that was the first like just single player type game that I had played on keyboard and mouse all the way through. And I did pretty well. I played on normal difficulty, but I did pretty well. The storyline was great. It was kind of disturbing when you get on TikTok and Facebook after beating it and you see all these people using the weird hacks on Lady
yeah.
Run around slapping her on the butt with a fly swatter stuff. I was like, okay, my game didn't do that. Yeah. I'm feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, like the hacks for that. Everybody was messing with her. But yeah, no, I thought it was a very solid game. I do feel like the scariness of it kind of like peaked, and then after that, it was like not scary anymore. Yeah. But because I think peak scariness was that like demon baby. You saw that, right? The deformed one. That scared the crap out of me.
Did you see the TikTok I did? Go to my gaming TikTok. Where it's like I'm screaming, I was like, "F you, baby! F you, big baby!" Like, dude, like that freaked me out. Like,
I thought I had done all the steps, so like I run to the elevator, and they're like, "No, you can't. You forgot this." I had to go all the way back, and I'm like hiding under the bed and doing all this. And I'm like, "Bro, it's so loud! Like it's screaming and crying in my ears!" Like, and then the first time it ate me, I was like, "No, dude, bro!" Like freaking. I was like, "No." It was that I don't get scared too easy. That definitely like unnerved me. That was it's pretty messed up.
Well, and I feel like that whole scene, that whole boss or whatever you want to call him, I feel like you ran through that part pretty fast, and then the other 3 like took a decent amount of time.
Yeah, I liked the way that the game was set up. I did like that you had to like go to each house and do all that. I thought that the castle part was gonna be like the whole thing.
Yeah.
But like that definitely could have been like its own like short little game on its own. So it was a lot of content. And I didn't do a 24-hour stream for that, but I before in the past I did a 24-hour stream when Cold War came out. I did one when Cyberpunk came out. And so now all these big games are coming out and people are like, do a 24-hour stream, and like I can't. My PC's like on its last limb. Like I'll have issues with OBS and stuff after like streaming for 4 hours. Like it'll crash completely. So once I get the new PC, I want to do a 24-hour stream, and then when new games come out, I think that's when I'll do them too. So we got like Far Cry 6, there's Deathloop, Rainbow Six Extraction, Battlefield, the new Halo, a new Call of Duty, which I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna be disappointed, but but at the same time, my expectations are like everybody's expectations are really low. So I feel like all they have to do is do something, and it'll impress people to a certain extent.
And I feel like too, like they came off of Modern Warfare, which was as far as like the regular in-game multiplayer before Warzone. They came off of Modern Warfare, which is quite possibly the best Call of Duty as far as multiplayer goes that we have seen since maybe even MW2. Like I know there was other good ones in between there, but to hit that caliber to where like you're just pulled in and you're on the grind, like movement, guns, balance, it was damn near perfect. You know what I mean? It's a followed up with Black Ops 4 with how bad it was. It just made it look even worse. You know what I mean? So,
and so like now it's like we got Cold War, and then they're saying that this next game is going to be just as bad, if not worse. So it's like 2 bad games in a row. That's rough.
Put a fork in them.
Rough time for Call of Duty. But and I think they're riding big time right now on the follow-up to Modern Warfare. Like I think they learned. I think the biggest issue people had with the original Modern Warfare was the multiplayer maps. They tried too hard to make them different. Where it seems like it was like they're trying to reinvent the wheel. Everybody knows that 3-lane maps are the way to go for Call of Duty.
Yeah, 3-lane maps all the time. I was actually getting ready to say that they got to go back to the 3-lane map.
Yeah, because Shoot House was a 3-lane map, and you saw how popular that was.
People loved it. Yeah.
Some people only played Shoot House once that came out. Like this is the only map they touched for the rest of the time they played it. So
yeah.
No, I thought the campaign was really good. So and I like how they keep the same characters, but like it's a different story. You know what I mean? So like you already kind of expect something from these characters, and so it's cool to see like what are they gonna do with Ghost? What are they gonna do with this? You know? So I'm excited. Or like Soap, because at the end, like that's one of the best teasers I've ever seen in a Call of Duty game for like the next one. And they did it right. So and the graphics too.
And that's the thing, like that's all they got going for them. Like me personally. And this is just because I'm kind of a history geek. World at War was quite possibly my favorite Call of Duty. Just because the gameplay, that was the first multiplayer that I really just dug deep into as far as like playing online. And the whole like story, like the storyline on that one was really fun to play through. Playing it on veteran was fun and it was challenging. Obviously I loved MW2 and the original Modern Warfare. But so when they released World War II a couple years ago, that one like really disappointed me. The story was good, the story was okay, but the multiplayer just kind of it sucked, man. The maps were bad, the guns were bad.
For me, World War II is like the game that kind of brought me back to it. Like I had fun with like the limited time events and stuff like that they did with that. I thought it was a step in the right direction. And once Black Ops 3 came out, I just completely checked out. Like Infinite Warfare, believe it or not, I think it's one of the best campaigns. You go through and watch it. Play it. Like I think that's the only reason to even play Infinite Warfare is for the campaign. Because the multiplayer is ridiculous. You got like people throwing anti-gravity grenades and like turning gravity off and just laser guns. It's like, bro, it's ridiculous. But the campaign was solid.
You developed a sense of reflex with that game. You know what I mean? Jumping everywhere, like you developed that whole reflex. So it played its role.
But yeah, I was not a big fan of Black Ops 3. Black Ops 4 felt like an incomplete game. And then I don't know, Cold War. To me, like felt like there was a good foundation, but they just didn't do enough with it to like change anything. It was very like copy and paste.
It almost felt like to me that they put too much time and money into zombies, and have been, rather than correcting their movement and whatnot in multiplayer.
Yeah, I don't know. And like I mean, zombies. I've said this before. I think Treyarch should just make a zombies game.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. Yeah. 100% agree with that, yeah.
Yeah, if they made like a campaign around it, if they made a multiplayer too, or like it's like people versus zombie, like they can be a zombie, like I think that would be cool. And then they have like the classic zombie maps too, like I think they could legit make a game out of that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
So if I was Treyarch, that's what I would be thinking about for their next game. And
Yeah.
and I also think they could benefit uh from turning it into like a 2-year game cycle.
Yeah.
If they could just make content for a game for 2 years, solid content, you know. I totally could have seen the first Modern Warfare being a 2-year game. Like I saw they added a new map to it, and like people freaked out. They're like, finally something new for Modern Warfare, because there's still like a really solid player base on it.
Yeah.
So, and the Cold War, like it must be embarrassing the numbers they have right now in that game for a less than a year old game.
Dude, have you since day one? Like, let me see what it's looking like on Twitch real quick. Like, even right now, you have 216,000 people in Warzone, which is dying, and you have 23,000 viewers on Black Ops. Like, that game's supposed to, like, that's the newest one, and you've only got 23,000 viewers watching it being streamed right now.
Oh,
like,
and the only reason why it's
is
at
because it's
23,000,
zombies.
the new zombies map.
The new zombies map. Yeah, that's the only reason. So on a typical day, there's about, from what I've seen, there's about 8,000 to 9,000 people watching Black Ops 4 being streamed, and typically anywhere from 10 to 15,000 watching Modern Warfare be streamed.
Did you say Black Ops 4?
Or I mean Cold War. No,
I was like, dude, Black Ops 4.
I saw
still got
season
people
4
watching?
here, and it triggered 4 in my head.
Yeah, no,
But yeah.
Yeah, and then like Red Dead, because I've been like, I look at the games that like they're talking about playing. Like, is it really worth playing? Like, are people gonna watch it? You know, like obviously if it's gonna turn into like me streaming to like less than 100 viewers, it's like it's probably a game where it's like the time has moved on. There's still 5,000 people watching Red Dead 2, and like the top streamer has 754 viewers. So like there's still like a solid viewer base there. And I mean the fact that it's my first time playing it at all, I think intrigues people, like see what I think of it. Power Watch Simulator's got 4.7K. Like people are watching that. I think that's being slept on. That is, it's kind of like stress relief, man. You're just like washing your problems
Danny,
away,
I
man.
gotta go pressure wash my actual driveway still.
Yeah,
virtually do it.
And like Clash Royale, like there's 10.8K viewers watching that. So I think that's a solid choice there. I'm excited to give that a try. Because like literally, you just make it like your webcam on one side, put the chat there, and then you got like your phone screen taking up like a third of it, or a little more than that. So like I think it's very easy to do that, and like it is an addicting game. Like I find myself like it's 3 a.m. I should be going to sleep, and it's like but if I do one more battle, I can unlock this next like tier, and I get this chest, and then it's one of those games.
Dude, trust me, I grew up playing a game. It was on the computer, and then they released a mobile app version called Ebony. And it was like a build your city, build your empire type thing, and then go attack other cities. A real-time game. And when they released the mobile version of that, dude, it was like we took it so serious. Like we had Discord set up to where all the different alliances on the map, we would like the leaders would come, we would talk, we would disperse, we would have allies. Like it was like a real war for us on that app. Like we would it'd be 2 a.m. and we'd be in like a somebody attacked the wrong person, and now we got their whole alliance is trying to burn down another alliance. Like we're in Discord at like 2 a.m. Like, dude, it was an accident. We're gonna send you resources. It's fine. Like we'll fix it. Like, dude, we took that stuff to heart. So I totally get being sucked into a game like that.
Yeah. No, I think like right now people are just itching for like different stuff, because everything's stale. So
because they see us, the Call of Duty primary streamers, they see those streamers getting so upset with the game, and that's reflecting through the screen. You know what I mean? They don't want to watch us when we're pissed off or angry at something. They want to see us have fun. They want us to joke around with them, have fun.
Yeah.
They don't want to see us rage because we're getting into the 5th hacked lobby today. You know what I mean?
In like a Power Wash Simulator, like there's people who would be like, "Oh, this is boring, bro." Like, like, all right, then go watch something else. And then there'll be other people like, "I don't think it's boring. Like, this is like, I'm going to sleep after this. This is kind of like helping me wind down." And like, not only that, like, I mean, it's a pretty mindless game. Like, you can just sit there and like you see what you're spraying. It's as simple as that. You can change attachments because some stuff's like, that poo stain won't come off with the regular nozzle, so you gotta like put something like a little heavy duty on there. So like, there's stuff like that. But like, I mean, it took me like an hour and a half to clean this playground that was just like covered in mud and stuff. So I mean, it's you sit there for like an hour and a half cleaning one spot. Like, I got a house that I have to clean now. That's the next like level. And so you sit there and you're just power washing and like talking to chat. It's a very like good game just to like chat with. Yeah. So I like that aspect of it because I always liked chatting, and I feel like there's certain games where like you can't focus on it as much. That's why I don't like Rebirth. Like, people are like, why don't you play Rebirth? And like, it's not only do I feel like it just doesn't have the same stakes, like, oh, if I die, I'm just gonna respawn. As long as my teammates don't suck, I'll just respawn. But like, it's so fast paced, I can't read chat.
Yeah.
And like, I don't like that because I like reading chat. For me, it's like it's supposed to be 50% gameplay, 50% chat.
Yeah.
So, and with Clash Royale, I mean, like, it's like, a couple of minutes of like intense gameplay, and then like deciding what to do, catch up with chat, and then going for another battle. And it literally takes like 2 seconds to find another match, so it's like, I think it's going to be a good time. I think I'll have my own little community for Clash Royale.
Yeah.
So,
and the biggest thing too with any streamer is stream what makes you happy. You know what I mean? Don't force it. So I think that helps too, that you're really, enjoying that game right now. And to stream it, it's going to reflect, your energy is going to reflect that you're having fun.
Yeah, so, and I mean, I think I've tried to be more like energetic about stuff because like I try to reflect how I'm feeling and not like act so serious. And so like Fortnite, like I'll go in and I'm playing with like a couple of squeakers or something like that, and they're talking about like trying this new G Fuel flavor because I recommended it and this and that. Like, all right, focus up. Like, we gotta go. Like, we gotta get the dub. This and that. We go in and it's definitely funny because you got those matches where I'm like, wait a minute, so and so doesn't have a mic. And I'm like, dude, you got 10 seconds to turn a mic on or I'm leaving. And I'll be like counting down and they don't. And then like the other people are like, oh man. And like, I just leave, like it's just.
Yeah. Dude, I totally get it. Like, and that's what kind of sucked for me was like, for a while, I was playing with subscribers, playing like pub matches with subscribers and people that were gifted subs or whatever that wanted to play that they didn't have a mic, and it's like, okay, well, we're playing Warzone, and part of the experience isn't just to like play with me, but it's to get to interact with me. You know what I mean? It's to get to talk with me, and like we're more of a one-on-one kind of conversation here.
Yeah.
And to not have a mic, it kind of kills the vibe for me. Like,
But not only that, like, communication. Like, if somebody's not telling me that they're like getting pushed by like a whole team, like, it's not good.
I'm used to talking in words, not talking in constant pings. Like, enemy was here, enemy was here, enemy was here.
Or like Valorant, like there'll be somebody who doesn't have a mic, and so they're like typing in the chat, and I'm like, bro, like I can't read chat in there while streaming and reading a chat and trying to play the game, and like not get my ass handed to me, because Valorant is a game where like if you don't have a certain amount of attention, like you're screwed. And it's people don't like watching you lose round after round after round. Like you can see people like, if you're doing really well, you see the numbers kind of like go up and steady out, and then like all of a sudden like you get one bad game and it goes down, then you get another good game, it goes up. Like it's definitely like it's all about the vibe. And so like if we're not having fun playing it because we're just getting destroyed by Smurfs, like you can tell. But the games that I play right now, I would say Fortnite's probably my main. I play that like once or twice. I play that like 2 or 3 times a week. And Fridays, I do every dub, I do like a giveaway, and I give away like 5 packets of G Fuel. So like they get really excited about that, because I did the Gutsy-aided mousepad collaboration, and I actually reached out to G Fuel and they sent packets for me to give away with those, and they sent a crap ton. So I just got packets to give away. So I do that, and then I play Valorant, Fortnite, Power Washer Simulator. I was playing Warzone, not anymore. I don't know, if I play Red Dead enough and then this new map comes out for Warzone, maybe I'll reinstall it to like give it a shot, But as of right now, I'm not, and then like I know there's like an in-game event coming And like, I don't know. I don't know if
All
it's
the
worth
events have been so screwed up and pointless anyway, though. Up to this point, like
I just wanted the same
we
hype.
had the zombies, you know, we had all that stuff. Like
That was so lame, dude. The zombie thing. Like I
they didn't know
can't.
what they were doing with it. They had no idea what they were doing with it.
Had it like I don't know if it was because it was a server issue. They just couldn't put that many zombies on there, you know. But like having them migrate was the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah,
Made no
yeah.
sense.
Like, all these 25 zombies are moving to the hospital today. Like,
And then you fight them all, and all you get is like a special gas mask.
yeah, it's like
give me like $30,000 cash or something too.
yeah,
You
it's
know,
like
like
you're
do
telling
something.
me I had to sweat flying all the way down in here to turn the zombie box on with 5 other teams because they thought it was a good idea.
Yeah.
And all you give me is a satchel?
Well, I mean, at Stadium, there was a cash room. Do you remember that? Yeah.
Yeah.
It got to the point where everybody was landing there, and the next update they got rid of it. And I was like, dude, move it somewhere else. Like that is like use that. Like I literally would see like 4 teams fight over it every game.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's little things like that. Like it's not that hard to
Make
like
a
listen to the
great.
community. Like just listen to the community. You hear everybody talking about like fighting over this cash room. You should probably keep that because people are talking about it. You know.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
yeah, no, I don't know what the hell's going on over there. I'm convinced they have to be thinking about the next thing. That's why they're not like giving a damn. And like
I don't think they're thinking about anything. That's the problem.
no, and they definitely have to be thinking about like, all right, this is starting to die. We need to be working on like Warzone 2.0 or whatever they're gonna call it, or if it's Warzone 2. I feel like if they call it Warzone 2, it's kind of stupid. But
and they got to be thinking too, like, you know, a big part of it is social media influence too. You know, the people see the Tim Tatmans, the Dr. Disrespects, the Nick Mercs, the Cloaksies, the Courage. They see all those players playing the game. It's like, okay, that's the game to play. What happens when all those big dogs pack up and go home? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
what are you going to do then? Because once they pull ship, you're losing a lot of people. You know what I mean?
And I guarantee it's going to happen when Battlefield comes out. That's what everybody's going to play. And I mean, I'm excited because people aren't talking about it too much yet, but there's this hazard zone mode that they're supposed to have, and it's like Escape from Tarkov.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like you go in with like, it's definitely not as hardcore, but like you go in, get loot, and you try to get out. And if you die, you lose the loot. You lose loot you come in with, but like you can only bring in stuff that you found in like your raid. So like there's stakes there. You know what I mean? Like, and it's Tarkov is addicting, but so complex that like that's the one thing that keeps people from getting into it. Is like it's a very like big game to tackle. It's almost like Rust. I would say Rust is worse though, because Rust is like very grindy. But like Tarkov, I mean, you could put hours and hours and hours in and still not really have a full grasp of like where to go, what you're doing, where things are. I mean, you're literally like performing self-surgery on yourself in the middle of like gunfights. It's crazy. You know, you're like, if I don't staple myself
that's why I haven't tried to jump into Tarkov, is because everybody tells me like, dude, it's a lot. Like, you know, for me with my day job and all that, it's just too much to try to commit to a grind. By the way, I am going to have to jump off here soon.
Yeah, me too. I just got a text about something. So, but yeah, no, I'm excited to see. I don't know, maybe we'll do this again in like 3 months again and kind of see, because that'll be right around the time I think Battlefield has just come out. So. Yeah,
well, you know, I'm always down. Just give a couple days notice, and I'm always down to be on the podcast. It's always a good time.
Yeah, thanks for doing this, man. It was good talk.
Of course.
Good catching up.
Yeah, we gotta link up for some games sometime soon.
Yeah, I don't know what now that I don't have Warzone.
Well, you deleted Warzone, so I mean,
so maybe well, I have something else.
I have Siege. I'm not very good at it, but I have it.
I kind of abandoned that game too, because so the problem with Siege is like it really the only reason people watch it anymore is for the competitive scene. So if you're not into the competitive scene, it's kind of pointless to watch and like play. And
I play Valorant every now and then. I throw down.
Definitely, we'll play some Valorant with you. Absolutely.
Okay. Cool.
So, yeah.
All right, man.
Well, thanks for being on. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Have a good one.
You too, man. Take care.